Welcome back, folks. We're at another range trip here. So today we're working on some 38 special loads. We were trying out the 4 grains of Trail Boss with the 158 2R, or sorry, round flat. We're also playing with some 9mm. We played with the 115 XTPs just to see how those would function. Those were great. We also have some berries here, 115 grain berries. Also the same charge as the XTPs, just so we can practice with the same amount of recoil and all that. We've already found maybe 5 or so pounds of lead, so that's awesome. And I'm not pushing as hard on the brass front today because it's going to be all about the lead right back there on the berm. There were a few other guys here shooting earlier. A couple dude bros actually. They were just mag dumping and playing with their little timer, which is always kind of fun anyways. But I told them, hey, you don't have to pick up that brass, I'll grab that for you. And they're like, all right, peace, bro. So we got a little bit more brass over here to pick up still. And of course the berm is always covered. So we'll get back with you here in a minute. We're just over here on the berm picking up some bullets. I still don't have the pooper scooper, but dang it, that's a good idea, I tell you what. There have been some people coming and going, so I'm just swapping between picking up brass on the side berm and picking up lead behind the targets. Just trying to stay out of people's way. And I am actually shooting. I brought 200 rounds to play with, so we'll have all kinds of fun stuff to show you here later. Pardon any of the wind noise, but we've just been practicing our mag dumping like a good dude bro. Some reloading and such. Here's some of the Trail Boss shots we've been taking. I was aiming 12 o'clock hold with the 6-inch barrel, and then in the center is the Ruger LCR. Here's our current brass update. Not quite as much as I would like, but we've been spending our time over here collecting lead. That's probably 20 pounds, hopefully. We have more than last time, and that was only 15 pounds, so it's looking pretty good. Dude bro, tactical reload. Oh yeah, girl. You know, I'm not sure how useful this drill actually is, but it's pretty fun. So here's another round. And I like doing this because I'm only shooting maybe 2 or 4 or 5 rounds at a time instead of loading up an entire 15 to 20 or 30 round magazine and just dumping it. I have to take the time to reload, actually assess my target, all that fun stuff. So it keeps you at the range longer, and it helps you kind of preserve or wrap your ammo. So this is what the majority of our berries loads look like. They've got this nice exhaust streak running down them. They are hot. You can see the primers barely starting to flatten there. And the next door are the XTPs, these 10 here. Those all seemed fine, and we didn't have as much soot coming down the cases on those. Here was my mess of 9mm reloading and function testing. We can see my old left o'clock hold has sort of worked its way back to the middle. But we were also holding high a few times. We were holding low, which apparently I was hitting high there. But it's a whole mess. But you can get a general idea of where they're going and what I'm actually doing with the gun. Here's our Trail Boss loads. You can see just beautiful, perfect holes in the paper. This lower area here was with the LCR. I think it's a 1.8-inch barrel. And then up top, I was playing around with the 6-inch Smith & Wesson. And that one just hits high anyways. We're aiming up here, and you can see 6 of them there. So overall, with our Trail Boss loads, the 358, 158 RF, these shot just pleasantly. They were nice and mild. Not a whole lot of snap to them. And again, we can see just perfect circles there in our paper. And again, low and left. That's just where I like to shoot. Here's our 9mm target. This is where we were just blasting away. I had a box of Fiocchi ammo, 115 grain. Those are clocked at 1,200 feet per second, they say on the box. My loads with Longshot and berries should have been very similar. There's a handful of those in here as well. And now that I've put maybe 350 rounds through this Hellcat, I'm starting to get more comfortable with it. And the grip is fairly small in my huge hands. There is one of the magazines with an extender, and that helps a lot. But when you're swapping mags and doing reloading, you definitely notice the different magazine size. Here were the first shots with our Smith & Wesson 6-inch barrel 38 special. This is our Trail Boss load. The first 5 have the little strike through them, and the next 5 were all right in there as well. And again, we can see that we're hitting high at 10 yards, aiming dead center here at the target. Here was our initial test with the Ruger LCR. We only have 9 on paper, 10 was about 2 inches low. And that was totally my fault. It just went off before I was ready. We were aiming at the center, and we have 9 on paper here. These were the first shots of the day. Our Hornady XTP loads. Nice breeze today, by the way. These were our first 10 shots, aiming right here. Yeah, pretty decent group. That was just me not holding it. And we had 1 low flyer, but there's 10 shots. And then here's the berries with the same bullet weight and same load, all grouped in here. That might be 20 or so. I was just playing around before we went to the other target over there. So we are out of ammo. We're gonna wrap it up, get cleaned up, and head back to the house. There's still a ton of brass over here. Some people have left for me, so I'll get that picked up, and we will get back with you at the dummy round compound. So we are back home, and it's actually been a few days since I've been at the range, but here is our lead haul. It was 22 pounds on the scale inside of the little can here, so maybe 21 or 21 and a half pounds. And then once we smelt it and clean all the jackets out, it'll definitely be less than that. So maybe 15 pounds of usable lead. Totally awesome. That's a great score for me. Then we'll jump back to our 38 specials real quick. These loads were fun. They were nice and soft shooting. That's the first time I'd used Trail Boss for the 38 special. Next time I definitely want to load up something hotter, but that was just kind of fun to play around with. And maybe I'll use some lighter bullets with Trail Boss next time. Here's our target with our 6-inch Smith & Wesson. We had a flyer down low and a flyer to the left, but otherwise they're all hitting in the same spot, a few inches high out at 10 yards where we were. And then you saw that again in our other target. But overall, they shot pretty well, or they shot as well as I could shoot them. Again, these were all from the LCR at, I think we were at 10 yards maybe. And then we had 6 of them up here with the 6-inch barrel. Quick look at our brass. On the left is from the LCR. Very rounded primers. They're not very dirty at all. A full clean burn of the Trail Boss. And then the same thing from the Smith & Wesson on the other side here. Brass is pretty clean still. And again, very rounded primers. So overall, they were fun to shoot. They were very light in recoil, and they went where I was aiming when I was able to aim them. But I'm probably not going to ever load up a whole bunch of these. That was just kind of a fun little test. So here was the first target of the day. That happened to be our 115 grain Hornady XTP. I should have probably warmed up with some of our other rounds first just to get, acclimated to the day and all that. But we had 1 low flyer, that's probably just me, and then the other 9 were right in here. Not too bad. It is a little snappy, so follow-up shots are a little more difficult, especially in the shorter compact guns. And then we saw out at the range I was showing, here was about 20 rounds of the berries. Grouping a little better, that was just because I was probably more warmed up. And it's the exact same load with the same weight bullet, so it feels and recoils the exact same, but I can load and practice with the berries much cheaper than I can the hollow point from Hornady. Lastly, we have this mess of a target. But I really like having more data, so why not have, 80 rounds of target here to analyze. But also keep in mind, as I was at the range, I was changing my point of aim. Sometimes I was aiming up here, sometimes I was aiming low. But most of the time when we're aiming here in the center, I'm going to group slightly low and left, but that's just how I've been shooting lately. We'll get better. Here's our brass from the 115 grain berries load. You can see the scorch mark down the case. These are a lot dirtier and a lot, I don't know, are these too hot? Is this too much pressure? I've never loaded anything this hot or seen this on my 9mm brass. And also, it's the first time I've ever actually seen a flattened pistol primer. And it's not horribly flattened, but you can sort of tell that it's not as round as it would be otherwise. Here's a better example. We can see our flattened primer from the berries load on the right side here, and then on the left is the XTP, while still flattened, not quite to the severity of these. So honestly, I've never loaded anything this hot in 9mm. Am I overpressure here? Is this stupid? I was a 10th under the book max from both Lee and Hodgdon, and I think even Hornady had a source as well. So I wasn't at the maximum load, but it was right close near the max. So overall, although they were a little snappy, it was fun to shoot. But if I'm, near pressure or anything like that, I'm totally not going to continue with this because I don't like when my brass looks like this. So I might load up the rest of these XTPs with this load, but as far as a plinking round with the berries, I can find about 100 different better loads for plinking than a maximum charge of Longshot. So overall, it was a pretty good range day, I would say. We had some nice fun cowboy loads with the 38 specials to play around with, and then we had some hotter 9mm. As far as my brass haul, I think I got about 8.5 pounds. It was on the scale after I had washed it out with the hose and all that, and let those dry in the sun for the rest of the day. And then of course we had our lead haul, which was the sort of focus on my scavenging this range trip. So we're going to add that into our pot of gold, as Lead Bullets for Life likes to say. And lastly, while we're at it, the day before the range trip, I went ahead and cleaned up some of my range scrap, and I ended up with 41 pounds. Out of 22 ingots, we have 41 pounds, and I still have maybe 30 pounds of range scrap outside, plus what we did get from the range. So I can't wait to melt all that down. So thank you guys so much for watching and hanging out. I really appreciate you guys spending your time here. If you enjoy this sort of content, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to stay tuned for more. We will see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.